Alright, air compressor, 4A air compressor. The task cover the disassemble, cleaning, the inspection, repair with the assembly with the test of the toolkit, with the mechanic particle tester, feeler gauge, micrometer, honing drill with the dial indicator, torque wrench, testing equipment, orifice hole with the dry material and parts, dry cleaning solvent, and lubricating oil with the grease BB, condition and description of air compressor, remove the disassembly warning. Drying and cleaning with all with the PD68 with the toxic flame of wear, protect with the goggle with the glove, that you for the only well ventilated avoid contact with the knife, glove with the down brave, you with an open flame with excessive heat, use the flash point of 100 and 138 degrees Fahrenheit. If you come to the dizzy, get fresh air, medical aid immediately. If the contact with the eyes, wash your eyes, get medical aid immediately. Compress air, you for the cleaning compressor, the like C for 30 psi. Do not direct compress air against the skin. You for the goggles or full face shield. Through cleaning exterior to prevent dirt for the interior internal part of the wind. Remove the repairing brake valve of the component. Check air line with the pipe of the corrosion with the brake for the split for the loose connection. Repair all the air line with the pipe. If the replace the defective pipelines and connections. Refer to TM552210223324P. Identification. View the dry cleaning. Solve the remove the dirt with the exterior air of the exterior of the air compressor. Dry the compressed air. This is something. Remove the 12 cap screws, 1 lock washer, 2 with the remove the lock washers, 2 with the remove the fan guard, 3 with the remove the discharge elbow, 4 with the extension, 5 remove the cotter prime, 6 with the nut, 7 with the cooling fan, 8 with the remove the 8 bolts, 9 lock washer, 10 air baffle, 11 6 remove the 4 lock nuts, 12 the discharge flange, 13 gasket flange, 14 14. And then you show the air compressor right there. This is something. Remove the 8 nuts, 15 to remove the 2 bolts, 16 lock washer, 17 2 space for the 18 with remove the items 19 through 32 with remove the 12 bolt for the 20 lock washer, 21 hour code, assembly 22 with remove the 16 bolt with the 23 with the nuts, 24 lock washer, 25 top flange, 26 with the gasket, 27 with remove the 16 bolt, 28 nuts and then the 29 lock washer, 30 bottom flange assembly, 31 and gasket, 32 from the tube assembly, 19 remove the gasket flange, 33 from the spacer, 34 and gasket flange, 35 remove the gasket flange, 36 for the spacer, 37 and gasket flange, 38. You've removed the EI safety valve, 39. Remove the cotter pin, 40 with the nut, 41. Coupling flange assembly, 42 with the remove of the 4 nuts, 43. Spacers, 44. Bolts, 45. Separate flange, 46 from the pulley, 47. Remove the 2 bolts, 48. Intake strainer, intake strainer, 49. Rubber gasket, 50 with the intake tube, 51. Gasket flange, 52. Remove the grain case, breather, 53, oil pressure gauge, 54 with the dipstick, 55, filler plug, 56, remove the 2 cap screws, 57, oil pressure tube, tubing, 58. This is somewhat continued. Remove the 2 26 cap screws, 59, remove the 2 side cover, the 60 and the gasket, 61, remove the unloader, tube 62 and 63, remove the unloader pipe fitting, 64, 65, and 66, remove the through cap nut, 67, remove the 3 base brass spacers, 68, unloader, 69, unloader valve spring, plug 70, inlet valve, 71. This assembly continued. Remove the 3 underloaded cap nut, 72. Remove the 3 valve plugs, 73 discharge valve, 74. With U the punch mark low pressure cylinder head, 75 to cylinder 83. With the U the 6 nut, 76 for the low pressure cylinder head gasket, 77. The U the punch mark high pressure cylinder head, 78 to cylinder 86. With the remove the 6 nut, 79 high pressure cylinder head gasket, 80. Remove the 6 nuts, 81 low pressure cylinder 82. With the gasket 83. Remove the 6 nuts, 84 with a high pressure cylinder gasket, 85 with the gasket 86. And then this is I'm going to remove the 4 cotter pin with the 87 with the castle knife, the 88 with the 2 connection rod caps, 89 remove the piston assembly, 90, 91 remove the 2 upper bearing with 92 with the lower bearing, 93 remove the 4 piston rings, 94 and 95. Alright, remove the 4 piston snap rings, 96 with the 2 piston pins, 97 with the 2 connection rods, 98 with the 4 bolts, 99 remove the 4 cotter pin with the 100 nuts, 101 bolts, 102 for the cap, 103 remove the oil pump plunger, 104 with the oil pump housing, 105 remove the cap screws, 106 with the washer, 106 with the oil strainer body, 108 retaining ring, 109 oil strainer screen, 110 remove keel, 111. Remove 11 nuts, and 112 of the main body, main bearing housing, 113 gasket, 114. Warning, components of the locomotive are heavy and may be awkward to handle. You with the correct lifting with the procedure for the indicating lifting device or assisting with the other person to avoid injury. Caution, be careful not to damage the crankshaft during removal. The use suitable lifting device slowly remove the crankshaft 115 with the crankcase 116. Remove the ball bearings 117 and 118. Oil seal is 119 and 120. Cleaning inspection warning. Dry cleaning some of the PD680 with this toxic blame of the wear. Protect the goggle with the glove. Use only well ventilated areas. Avoid skin, eye, clothes. Do not breathe with vapor. Do not use the air. Open the flame. Excess the heat with the flash point 100 to 138 degrees Fahrenheit. If you become dizzy with the fresh air with the medical, immediately with the contact eye with the maid with the washer, I have to get a medical aid immediately. Compressed air. Use the cleaning purpose. The next use 30 psi. Do not use the direct compressed air against skin. Use goggle and full face shield. Use the cleaning, dry cleaning soap to remove the dirt and grease the oil cylinder from the cylinder heads. Cleaning the cylinder side cover. There was a discharge elbow, piston, pipe, pins, and a discharge flame with the direct with compressed air. Maximum magnaflex cylinder head for the cylinders. Side cover with the discharge elbow, piston, pin with the discharge flame with the check for the there are no cracks for play with the damaged part. With the clean inspection from the repair crankshaft by 11 and 115 by with the following dry clean several remove the degree then dirt and oil from the crankshaft with 115. Check for the oil patches for the 3 with the obstruction direct with compressed air for the brand flux check and crankshaft with 115 with the check with there's no crack with the crankshaft with the not bent with the broken. No. Check with the oil surface with the not groove with the ball bearing seat with the not warm with the oil relay valve seat with the not scored. Inspect the end of the crankshaft with 115. Check that there is no damage with the surface of the threads and keyway. Use the micrometer measure for the crankshaft with 115 with the general diameter. Refer to table 141 for the dimensions. Cleaning, inspection, repair. Continue the failure gauge measure the radial clearance between the oil pump plunger 104 with the collar with the crankshaft eccentric with refer to table 401 for the dimension. Note the maximum running of 1,000 inch must be checked at the depot level of the maintenance facility. Repair damage crankshaft 115. Clean, inspect, repair cylinders 82 and 85 by the following. Use the dry cleaning soap to remove the dirt and grease the oil cylinders from 74 and 78 dry compressed air. Note right ring travel the surfaces should not be scored or should not have the rigid use the honing drill honing cylinders wall to the bright smoothly finished. Note cylinder flanges machine. Check with the cylinder length is not shortened between beyond the minimum limit of the determined inside of the piston with the top dead center with the inch of the piston with the flush and below with the top of the face of the cylinder. The UV dial indicator true both ends of the bore with the flange face. Inspect the perpendicular lower pressure cylinder 82 with the high pressure cylinder 85 with the flange face with the maximum variance with the 2,000 inch and variance of the exceed with the maximum machine clearance cylinders flanges. Use the failure gauge measure for cylinder to piston clearance for the clearance dimensions. If the cylinder piston clearance is not within the limit to replace for the piston with the new standard size piston, recheck with the cylinder piston clearance if it's not within the limit to replace with the cylinder new standard size cylinder replace with the damaged low pressure cylinder 82 and high pressure cylinder 85. Clean inspection and repair. Clean inspection repairs not in positions 90 and 91 for the following. Use the dry cleaning soap to remove the dirt and grease with the oil. Remove the dry clad press air with the magnet flux piston 90, 90 and 1. Check for the air, no cracks. Check for the piston ring with the groove with the square, but do not have rigid. Use the failure gauge. Make clearance between the ring side with the groove with the clearance of the 2,000, 4,000 of an inch. Micrometer measure the square of the pistons 90 and 91, but they refer to table of war 1 for the diameter limits. Do not use the stone or Emmy call for the remove of the minor scruff of the marks and scratch from the piston. Damage the piston will resolve the use of the file. Remove the minor scruff of the marks, scratches, and pistons with the 90, 91. Replace damaged pistons 90 and 91. Clean and inspect the repair of the connection rod by the following. Use the dry cleaning stuff to remove the dirt and grease with the oil connecting rod. Check the oil passage with the free of the obstruction dry compressed air with the magnet flux connecting rod. Check that there is no crack. Inspect with the bolt nut. Check with the threads with the nut damage. Check with the bolts. Turn freely on the nuts. Fitting connections rods 98 with the crankshaft journal with the following. Apply film with the tight oil crankshaft with the 115 journal. Inspect the connecting rod 98 with the torque with the 125 plus or minus 25 pounds of torque per foot. Check with the castle nut in line with the up to the meter cotter pin in hole in bolt. Clean inspection repair. Continue the failure gauge. Connect with the rod cap of the 90 with the journal crankshaft with 115. Check with the flange with the 15 10,000 of an inch. Maximum clearance of the connection rod of 1 inch of the piston pin with the check with the connection rod turns free. Check with the maximum clearance in the same manner with the step 3 above. Check clearance between the connection rod and cap of the 93 of the crankshaft journal 115 must be within 3,000 inch maximum. Connect the rod 98 with 1 inch for the 25.4 millimeter for the piston pin with the check with the connection rod turns tightly. Use the failure gauge measure with the side clearance with the connection rod 98 side clearance with the 2,000 of an inch minimum with 31,000 of an inch condemnable. Remove the connection rod 98 with the bearing 93 with the caps 89 with the crankshaft 115. Replace the damaged connection rod 98. Clean inspection, repair an oil plunger 104 with the following with the dry cleaning soap to remove the dirt and the oil strainer with the strainer with the 110 with the dry with the compressor. Check the oil strainer 110 with the down frame with the damage. Replace with the damaged screen. Use the failure gauge measure radial clearance between the oil pump plunger collar and crankshaft. The centric drum with the clearance of 3,000 of an inch minimum 5,000 inch condemnable. If the clearance is limited to exceed with the replace with the oil pump plunger. Check the ball and ball seat with the oil plunger 104 and not warned with the damage of the following. Micrometer measure with the front and the end with the oil pump plunger 104 with the bottom with the ball wear limit of 271,000 to 225 thousandths of an inch and with the wear limit exceed with the replace with the plunger. If the ball is inside the oil pump housing and 105 with the damage, replace with the new stainless steel ball. Clean inspection, U for the yellow gate for the measure clean with between the oil pump plunger 104 with the oil pump housing 105 with clearance between 2,000 inch minimum with 6,000 inch. Condemnable will replace with the damage of oil pump plunger, oil pump housing. Check with the crank with the journal supporting the oil pump housing 105 with the down cracked or broken. Replace damaged parts with the Magnaflex crankcase 116 with the check with the clearance if not broken. Not cracked or broken, replay for the damaged crankcase. The U of the dial indicate for the measuring the bearing of the bore with the main bearing housing 113 maximum allowable wear with the eccentricity with the 2,000 inch. Remove the damage of the main bearing housing. Clean inspection repair. Intercooler with 19 with the foam with the U of the dry clean self with the remove the dirt with the loose paint with the intercooler with the 19 with the dry the compressor area with the duck ball. Build pliers and straighten bent thin with the clean inspection repair with the intake with the strain with the 49 with the foam with the U of the dry clean self with the remove the dirt oil intake with strain with the 49 with the dry compressor air apply with the thin coil with the oil into the intake strain with the play with the damaged oil. Tighten the fittings, replace with the metallic leaded filter material with the crankcase, breathe with the replace with the seal and the rings, the bearing gasket. Refer to table before when the air compressor data measure for the part with the check with the parts that do not exceed with the condemnable limit that replace with the damaged parts. All right, displacement, 73 cubic feet minute at 480 RPMs. Displaced at 925 cubic feet a minute with the 600 RPMs. 125 cubic feet a minute with the 800 RPMs. 153 cubic feet a minute at 1,000 RPMs. Compressor brake horsepower rating 28.5 at 800 RPM. 40 at 1,000 RPMs. Number of low pressure cylinders 1. Low 7.750 to 7.751 inches. Low pressure cylinder bore. Low pressure piston outside diameter 7.744 to 7.743 inches. Number of the compression rings 2. Low pressure piston. Number of oil rings. Low pressure piston 2. Number of high pressures 1. High pressure cylinder boring 4.250 to 4.251 inches. High pressure piston outside diameter 4.246 to 4.25 inches. Non-compression ring with a high pressure piston 2. Number of oil rings a high pressure piston 2. Stroke of all pistons 5.625 inches. Number of the bearings 2. And type of the main ball bearings ball. Crankshaft diameter, journal diameter 3.621, 3.623 inches. Crankshaft journal lubrication 4 inch oil pump 2 Uniflow. Oil capacity 14 and 3/4 volt with air compressor cooling air fan, intercooling pressure 50 psi, low pressure piston cylinder clearance 6,000 inch minimum, 8,000 inch maximum. Low pressure cylinder ring side clearance 2,000 inch, low pressure cylinder ring gap 25,000 of an inch. High pressure piston cylinder clearance 4,000 inch, minimum 6,000 inch, maximum. High pressure cylinder ring clearance 2,000 inch. High pressure cylinder ring gap 15,000 inch. Main bearing clearance no adjustment. Connecting rod checking clearance 10,000 inch. Flip piston pick and connecting rod clearance 3,000 inch. Oil pump bearing cleaning clearance of 10,000 inch. Oil pump body clearance crankcase 2,000 inch. Valve lift 81,000 inch. Minimum 81,000 inch. Maximum 72,000 inches. Minimum valve thickness 0.4 46 thousandths of an inch. Condemnable bullet 38,000 an inch. Assembly warning. Heated parts may cause injury to the person with hard hand protective is not worn with handling with a wear protective with the glove with the maximum protection. This is all main ball bearing 118 on induction heater with a heater of 250 degree move main ball bearing here A1 818 induction heater the install with the crankshaft 115 component of this locomotive heavy. Maybe you are awkward to handle the correcting lift the procedure indicating lifting devices and assist with other personnel with avoid injury. Use a little bit of lifting device lower lone crankshaft with the 115 and crankcase 116 with the main ball bearing 118 and the shoot with the install of the main ball bearing 117 with the induction heater reheated to 250 degrees. Remove the main ball bearing 117 with the induction heater installed on the crankshaft 115. 64 cover the gasket 114 with the grease. Install the main bearing housing 113. 65 install the main bearing housing 113 with the nuts 112 with the tighten the nuts evenly pull the bearing housing and play with the turn the crankshaft 115. Check with all the main bearings 118 and 117 turn freely. The crankshaft does not turn freely with the use of the hammer lightly tap the main bearing housing 113 near the oil seal bore to release the tension. Note: oil seals are pre-soaked with the wrap with the airtight paper with the receipt of the manufacturer. However, the oil seal they have been stored for the considerable length of the time they have been dry, but they should be re-soaked with the oil period of 12 hours before installation. 67 install oil seals 120 and 119. Assembly continued. Install oil strain with the 110 with the oil strain with the body 108 with the secure with the rotating ring 109 with the install the oil pump housing 105 with the crankcase 116. Install the assembly oil strain body with the 108 with the secure with the scap screw with the 106 with the install the oil plunger 104 with the oil pump housing 105 with the round with the crankshaft 115. Install the cap 103 with the crankshaft 115. Secure with the 4 bolts 109 1 nuts 102. Cutter pin 100 to refer to the table to D1 for the torque values. Install all key with the 111. Install with the 2 upper band with the 92 with the connection rod 98. Install with the pistons 90 and 91 connecting rod 98. Install the 2 piston pin with the 97 with the connection rods 98 with the pistons 90 and 91. Secure with the 4 snap rings 96 with the 4 piston rings 94 on the pistons 90 and then 4 piston rings with 95 on piston 91. So check with this punch mark for the line with the install with the head with the cylinder with the install with the gasket 86 for the high pressure cylinder 85 with the 6 nuts with the 86 84 with the tight nuts evenly with the pull high pressure for the cylinder and play with the install with the gasket 83 low pressure cylinder 82 with the 6 nuts 81 tighten the nuts evenly with the pull the low pressure cylinder and play with the oil lubricating crankshaft with the drill through the cylinder walls connecting rod bearing with the piston rod rings and piston pin with the stagger piston ring gap with the install with the piston 91 the high pressure cylinder 85 with the stagger the piston ring gap with the install with the piston 90 with the low pressure cylinder 82. Install the 2 upper shaft over the 62 and lower bearing 93. Install the 4 bolts 99 with the 2 connection rod caps 89 with the 4 castle nuts 88 with the tighten the 125 with the plus or minus 100 pound 50 pounds of torque per foot line the cast nut for the holes into the butts with the bolts secure with the 4 cotter pin with the further table the 4 1 check with the gearing gap and cylinder piston and 2 clearance. Assembly. Install the gasket 8 with the high pressure cylinder head is 78 with the inside of the high pressure cylinder head secure with the 6 with the 79 with the tighten the nuts with the evenly with the high pressure cylinder with the head in play with the preferred table to D1 with the torque specification. Install gasket 77 with the low pressure cylinder head at 75 and install the low pressure cylinder head with the secure with the nuts. So the 76 with the tighten the nuts evenly with the low pressure cylinder head in place with the preferred table to 81 with the torque specification and 2 install with the 3 discharge valve with the 74 with the valve spring 33 and unload cap nut 72. Install 3 inlet valves unloader valve plug with the 70 with the unloader 69 brass spacer 68 unload the cap nut 67. Install the upper unloaded pipe fitting 64, 65, 66. Install the unloader tube 62 and 63. Install the oil pressure type in 58 with the screw of the 2 cap screws 52. Then install the pulley 47 with the flange 46 with the screw of the 4 bolts 50 45 with the spacers 44 and the nuts 43. Install the coupling flange 42 with the 40 nut 41 with cotter pin 40. Install the EI safety valve 39. Install the gasket flange 38 space 37 the gasket flange 36. Install the gasket flange 35 the space 34 and the gasket flange 33. Install the 2 gaskets 61 and 2 side cover the 60. Secure the 26 bolt 59. Perform the leak test and check for the intercooler 19 that does not leak. Replace for the damaged intercooler. Install the bottom flange assembly 31, gasket 32, then 16 lock washer 30, nuts 29 and bolts 28. Install the top of the flange 26 with the gasket 26 with the 16 lock washer 25 with the nuts 24 and the bolts 23. Install the 12 lock washers 21 and the bolts 20 with the outer core assembly 22. With the install of the nuts 19 through 32. With the install of the 2 lock washers 17, bolts 16, 2 spacer 18, 8 nuts 15. Install the Dixter 55, the low pressure gauge 54 with the crankcase B with the 53. Install the gasket flame for the 52. Install the intake with the 2 with the 51 with the rubber gasket 50. Intake screen for the 49. Screw with the 2 bolt for the 48. With the install the gasket flame 14 with the discharge flame for 13 with the 4 lock nuts 12. Install the air baffle 11 and cooling fan 8 with the nut 7 and the cotter pin 6 with the screw with the 8 lock washers 10 and the bolts 9. Install the extension 5 and the discharge elbow 4. Install the fan guard 3. Secure with the 12 lock washers, cap screws 1. Through further figure 344 with install the air pressure with the fail with the crankcase oil with install filler plug 43. Test caution when performing orifice testing. Check for the oil pressure is never less than 15 psi. Damage of the air compressor could result before an orifice test by the following: connecting the orifice hole with the 70 and 64 of the inch orifice the air reservoir draining cock with the U of the orifice square edge of the bore through the plate of 1/16 of an inch thickness. Start the engine running until the normal operation temperature. The outlet valve with the reservoir open. The drain cock with the drain cap open for all of the tests. Run an air compressor for at least 2 minutes for the low speed with the table of the 4 2 with the pressure reading. Record air compressor speed, the RPM, the corresponding pressure. When the air compressor at least 2 minutes on high speed, for table 4 2 with the take of the pressure reading. Record air compressor speed, RPM with corresponding pressure. Run air compressor 15 minutes with the drain the cock open and repeat steps D through E with a review of the table of the 4 3 with the compare the speed pressure readings. 12. Apply the EI safety valve 39 with the intercooler 19. Then check with the intercooler safety valve open with the 60 psi with the play with the damaged intercooler safety valve there. Apply the air unloading with the 69 and 74. Check with the unloading valve over the 135 psi. Close at 140 psi. If unloading the valve, do not open the close with the specified psi with the preferred paragraph of 345 with adjusting the compressor governor. Apply with the air pressure main reserve safety valve with the check with the main reserve Safety valve opens at 150 psi. Adjust the main reserve safety valve with the turning regulating nose. Replay with the damage for the main reserve safety valve. Inspect with the tested air compressor for the following. Check with the oil has not escaped the crankcase. Breathe with the disc open. Oil has spilled out. Replay for the oil seal with the crankcase. Breathe with the remove of the valve with the assembly. Check with the there's no broken spring. The cutout broken valve. Check with there is no scoring. No. If the piston cylinder rings, piston pins, connection rods, and bearings are replay with the hour. If the test must be repeated. Remove the cylinder heads. Inspect the cylinder wall. Check for the there is no scoring. And this was a reading of the air compressor, part 2, or dot 2.